This is Act and Analyze with Maggie and Tyler. We are two best friends.
I'm an actress.
And I'm a therapist.
In Act and Analyze, you will hear us discuss all things within media and our daily lives while relating it to our lovely guests.
We want to have fun, but also learn along the way.
Everywhere around us is media. We just want to know what type of media helps you or infuriates you or makes you feel good.
We want to grow with you and leave you all feeling better than how we found you.
Welcome to Act and Analyze.
Hello and welcome to Act and Analyze with Maggie and Tyler.
Yeah.
Hey y'all. We're here with another episode of the pod, and we're so excited because we got an amazing guest. Her name is Sarah
Janae
Woodruff.
Woodruff.
Ruff. If you were a dog, what dog would you be? Say in the comments. Spill the tea.
Let us know.
Let us know. I would be I'm giving like King Cavalier.
Yeah.
Go around, cuddle up. They like their little walk. They have their floppy ears. Like the way I walk is how I walk with like floppy ears. You know, they look a little clumsy. They look a little silly. They're chill. They're vibing. What about you? A cockapoo.
I would be a cockapoo for sure.
Cockapoo?
Cockapoo. They're chill,
Yeah.
but like ready to like experience. And they're curly and cute and fun.
Welcome our guest. She's incredible. We're gonna talk about her journey. We're gonna talk about her. She's a therapist. Also an ex-culinary artiste, but still a culinary artiste because she still cooks for us, and
Oh yeah.
she's incredible. Please welcome to the stage, Sarah Janae Woodruff. Welcome.
Welcome to the pod.
How are you? I'm genuinely just chilling with like my best pals. So
Yes,
it just feels like another day to me.
Sarah, tell the pod a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Who is Sarah?
So I'm Sarah Woodruff. That's my government. You can find me, but please don't. I am a mental health counselor, just like Tyler. I am a sister, daughter. I'm just somebody who wants to live their best life.
Yes.
That's it. Like, forget all the rest.
That's the tea.
I want to help. I want to live my best life. I want to help you live your best life.
Yes.
Whatever that might mean. So,
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. I think that summarizes who you are in a nutshell perfectly. I feel like, though, yes, that describes you in a nutshell, but I feel like you have lived, like Sarah has lived many, many Sarah lives. Your journey has been amazing, incredible, unique.
To say the least.
Yes,
That's what you are.
that is what you are, girl.
Yes.
Do you want to tell the pod a little bit about your journey, your origin story?
I do. I'm just I'm not sure the world's ready for it. So I guess I'll kind of like start generally, not the beginning of inception of me. You know, like I was born, here I am, right? Luckily, I don't remember that.
Imagine if we could.
I think I would rather not. Ever.
I just read an article that Nicolas Cage said that his first memory was when he was in the womb.
Of course he'd say that. Nicolas Cage would say that.
My grandma says that she remembers it too. Are they the same person? Is my grandma Nicolas Cage?
Grandma!
If it's anybody, would be Nicolas Cage. Like on the low, would be Grandma.
I could kind of see them together.
Oh, let's make it
He would
happen.
nowadays.
Let's make it happen.
Nicolas Cage, hit me up if you want to date
Grandma.
a gorgeous woman.
Where are we going with how do we forget Nicolas Cage?
Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking about Inception, and you didn't remember Inception, which is good.
So I didn't remember that. So I was just a young lass, just back in the day. Grew up in Southwest Jersey, so on the border of like Pennsylvania and Jersey. So like the city to me growing up was Philly. So when I moved up in Monmouth County, everyone's like, "Oh, I'm going to the city. I'm going to the city." I'm like, "Oh, you're going to Philly? That's so cool!" Like everyone's like, "No, New York City, you fucking idiot." I was like, "Oh, right." And like meanwhile,
Do you get off school for farming?
no, but I should have. I didn't farm much, thank God.
I remember learning about that some schools in like Southwest Jersey would get off school for farming.
Oh, that was probably more like Penns Grove, like Salem area. I was definitely a little bit more rural, but not too much.
Okay.
You could like, if I chose to, I could have went a completely different country bumpkin path,
Okay.
but I chose not to.
Yeah.
And for those who do, power to you. But it just was not my way.
Yes.
So I grew up there with my immediate family. All my family's from there. And then from there, just some of my journey starts. I went to culinary school, like fresh out of high school. I really had no idea what I wanted to do, but I don't know if you guys liked watching those shows. Like starting to watch Cake Boss for me was like, that was it.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I was like, this takes like all the parts of creativity that I love into one. Like, cause I've always loved to bake, but like, I'd like to be creative and like be artistic and stuff like that. So I was like, this like meshes two things that I really love.
Yes.
So I went to school for baking and pastries at the Art Institute of Philadelphia for 2 years. About 2 years. It was like just like a diploma program, so I didn't get any actual college credits, but spent like 40 grand. So awesome for me. Now I'm not using it, but I mean, lessons at the end of this, it's all been lessons learned. But yeah, I did that for a couple years, and then I worked at the Philly Stadium, Citizens Bank Park.
Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.
Go
All
Birds.
day, and I will fight you. I mean, I don't really care about sports, but like, it feels like I have to defend it, like with my, like it's my honor, like I have to. It's like this like weird thing that's very deep in me that like, I mean, if the Eagles are winning or the Phillies are winning or the Flyers are winning, like it just like my blood like boils, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice.
In a good way. It boils in a good way.
Oh yeah. Because then like all your people are happy and just like
Yeah.
I don't know, like Philly's such like an underdog city, like so like, and that's what they're called, the underdog. So like, I'm like to my core, I am rooting for the underdog.
Yeah.
I am the underdog. So like, root for me, bitch, please.
Yes.
Please root for me. So I guess maybe that's where the deep resignation comes from.
While you were in culinary school, I'm curious, would you watch baking shows, or how does shows like The Bear really have affected you?
Oh God. So it has definitely, like shows like that weren't out then, but like in food, like not now, but like I worked in food service from the time I was 18 until like just last year. I'm not going to tell you how old I am. But a while, a good minute. And, it was all like The Bear is like so traumatizing. Like it's a great show, but like it truly depicts what it like the toxic environment that exists within restaurants and any food industry places. So I found myself not watching like realistic kitchen shows, more like I like Chopped.
Oh, love
like
Chopped.
I love Chopped. Iron Chef was fantastic.
It's amazing.
But like I was like more like the baking route. Like it was Cake Boss. There was a show called
I like Guy's Grocery.
I love Guy's Grocery Challenge.
That one is so good.
They're like only use canned items.
Yes.
I love that one.
Yeah.
That one's so good.
That's a good one. Yeah, all the cake competition shows were so cool. But like applying that when I was in school, like you're really like eating humble pie. You're like, I actually have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. You know, you see these people like bake a cake and then stack it and then just like decorate it with all this crazy shit. And it's like, oh my God, how much more goes into that?
Wow.
Was definitely like a learning curve for me.
Who's your baking icon? Is it Buddy?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like it was at first because he was like, that was the show that got like the baking cake shows like on the air, like right, like everybody wanted to be a fucking cake boss
for sure.
And I was like, I'm gonna work for Buddy Velasco one day. I swear to God, I was like, I'm gonna move to Hoboken. Meanwhile, I've never like stepped a foot over like anywhere over like what y'all consider Central Jersey. New Jersey. I've never even been here at that time. I was just like this far. I was
Hoboken
like,
was a faraway land.
yes,
at that
like
point.
genuinely
Yeah.
a faraway land. No, not him. There was this guy. He had a show called Ace of Cakes.
Oh, love him. I love
What
him
is
way
his
more
name?
than Buddy.
Duff Golden.
Duff Golden, that's who it is.
Thank you to our audience. over
Yeah.
there for
Yeah.
really supporting us.
Thank you. For assistant.
Duff
Yes.
Golden is amazing. He was the judge on every Food Network show.
Yes, all the baking competitions. He was always like, it was him and then the woman who owned the first cupcake
Yep.
restaurant,
Sprinkles.
She's
And
an icon.
Sprinkles
as well.
is bad.
Is it? I've never actually had.
Oh my
it.
god, it's awful.
You know where I draw the
You
line?
want a bad cupcake? Go to Sprinkles.
You know where I draw the line is when you put cake in a vending machine. And Buddy Velastro crossed that line.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's no coming back. He took like his family restaurant and monetized it.
He did.
You know,
Mhm.
which I understand like from maybe like a financial standpoint, but I think it lost its charm about it and like the special
Mhm.
piece that like I think made their bakery what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Now, from being in the baking world, being in the culinary world, the restaurant world, what brought you to now being a licensed associate counselor?
What brought me here, I guess, was a desire at first to get the fuck away from the food industry because the moment I realized that I wasn't going to own my own bakery, like that was always the dream. It was like go to culinary school, get some experience, own your own bakery. And then like my life changed just because like life showed up. I was like only 20. I was just like 21 at the time. So I really had no like idea what I really wanted to do. I didn't have like a lot of direction of like anybody being like, hey, like you should do this. More just like, which I think is great. Like you can do anything you want, right? Like I've always had that support growing up and like from people from in my life, but like I've never had this like clear direction pointed for me, right? Or like in that way, like I've always felt like really alone in that. So I have tried to like once I got a little bit older and realized that's not what I wanted to do, I was like, okay, like I like helping people, and I had moved up to Monmouth County with just to like get away from like some bad jujus and some bad peeps, and really like kind of start my life over.
That's amazing.
And then a new beginning came.
A rebrand. Were there any moments in that transition of, you know, like paths and stuff where you would revert to any comfort shows or new shows that would inspire you, or was there any music that really helped you through that time? That's a really admirable thing to do is to pivot in that way. So I really commend you for it in a lot of ways.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot. And like, just as you were asking the question, my mind immediately went to like, what I used to watch before I moved. And then I was like, well, what did I watch after I moved? And what I watched before I moved, I was still living at home with my parents. Like one of the last shows I kind of remember like binge watching right before I moved was Vampire Diaries.
Ooh.
Like I was obsessed with that show. Obsessed. But then once I moved, it was like I moved out of my parents' house and I moved in with like a group of friends and stuff. I felt like then I was like, oh my God, I can actually like do things and like things that I want, you know, like even just like down the TV, like even though I had like a TV in my own room, like the distance and the space gave me the autonomy to feel like I can just like explore new avenues. The show that comes to my mind is Masters of Sex.
Yeah,
I watched that. That was one of my first shows I
so
remember
good.
like really like getting really into.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I love that show.
Me too. That's so.
That's so you.
Yes, I watched it. I remember talking about it in undergrad in my my like gender and sexuality class.
Yeah.
And I bought the series off my dad's Amazon, and he was like, "Who bought who bought this show? And I was like, oh, I had to get it for class. I said it was for class. But that shit was crazy. That shit was crazy.
Yeah, that shit
That's
was wild.
really interesting.
Never
Do you know what it
watched
is?
Oh.
No.
And it's all about psychology.
Yeah.
And stuff. So
and
I
it's
think that's,
based on, it's true.
It's a true
so
story,
it was
yeah.
John Masters.
Yeah, John Masters and Jenny.
Jenny. Do you mind looking up?
Can the audience help us out?
Yes.
Virginia Johnson. Oh
Yes,
my God.
Masters and Johnson.
Yes.
So-
There's articles published by
Yes.
Masters and Johnson.
I
still
did
in the field
so much studying on them.
today.
So yeah, William
cool.
Masters and Virginia Johnson, they worked together. She was like his assistant. I think she was like a TA almost.
Yeah.
And he was really interested in human sexuality. So this was like very early in psychology.
Mhm.
So they would study couples having sex or like people like masturbating and stuff, but they would be there in the room with them.
Like, this was the
Whoa.
first of its kind.
Yeah,
Nobody ever did this before.
Yes,
Wow.
super unethical, obviously.
Mhm.
Like he was a
It was so
psychologist, and people came with sexual issues and
crazy. Mhm.
discrepancies and stuff, and he worked with them, but like he wasn't involved in the sex, but he was there to like talk them through it, and like it's so interesting.
Even like they would have like a clipboard
Yep.
and then be standing over them like when they're on like the table having, one's getting dipped down,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like,
Wow.
good form. Shit
Yeah.
like that. Like it was really, I mean, it really was interesting.
He would go to brothels
Mhm.
and study like sex workers, and it was really interesting. And then him and Virginia ended up getting together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that
so
was
too.
like a one and done. I think it was like one or two
Mhm.
seasons.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yep.
But yeah, I
Wow.
definitely leaned just like into like, I guess, exploring myself. Like it was like that transition of not being just somebody's kid. I was becoming an adult and I had different responsibilities, and I was just like really just trying new things.
What made you want to become a therapist?
Ooh. I actually didn't know. So since like I went to when I went to culinary school, I got like no actual schooling done. I was just like working in a restaurant. I was like, I just have to get back to school now because I think I was 22 at the time. I was like, and like time's ticking and I'm not doing anything productive. I mean, I was like living and like I was living a much happier life and shit like that. But so as a result of that, like living a better life, I wanted more for myself. So I went back to school, and I think somewhere along the way, I met an advisor, Joseph Crusoe from Brookdale University.
Yes. Come on,
Mhm.
Brookdale.
Yes.
The Dale.
I fucking loved him. He like the energy he gave off to me, like, and he was just like, you should take more psych classes. And that was kind of like the conversation I had with him. And then he was also like, he was an advisor there, and he taught the class some psych classes, and he just encouraged me to like lean into like things that I was clearly interested in and good at, right? Like, at that level, we weren't doing any like actual counseling skills,
Right.
but like, just like, I've always, just generally speaking, I've always wanted to know why we do what we do, why we behave this way,
Right.
why we present this way, why we act the way we act. And the best way to figure that out is to study the brain.
Yes.
So that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just like, I had therapists along the way, like that really helped me. And I'm like, well, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's fucking amazing.
It just felt like a clear path, a path that was like already there and maybe predetermined already.
Right.
I just didn't see it at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I genuinely like can't picture you doing anything else. Like obviously,
No.
I mean, you can chef it up. You can chef it the fuck up, and you can bake. You bake good, but you are definitely meant to be a therapist.
I think so. I think that like in my life, most people I've been surrounded by have lived in regret. And I did that for a bit, right? Like once I was like, once you turn 18, like you're like living life or whatever. I lived regretfully for a really long time. Like I never took chances. I stayed safe. I hung out with the same people. I did the same thing. I went to college at the time because like that's what everybody else was doing. And then I realized I was like, damn, like I could just do something else.
Right.
And be happier.
Mhm.
And I just took that path and was like, I made a really tough choice. And I was really, really scared and uncomfortable. Like, I was literally the girl at sleepovers when she was like 10 or 12. Was like, call my mom in the middle of the night. Like, Mom, come get me. I'm so scared. I can't be without you. Like for what?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I was 22, I was just like, I gotta go. I just knew I had to leave.
It was
you know,
time. Yeah.
like I don't like as much as shit. Like I did regret. Like I can look back and be like, that was a little silly. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have hung out with him. You know, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have never have left the comfort of my own home and my own space.
Yeah.
And like that's what pushed me to be like it like encompassed me of who I am today.
Mhm.
So like I wouldn't be a therapist. I wouldn't like know you. I wouldn't know you two.
Right.
You know? Like, I
know.
wouldn't live by the fucking beach. I wouldn't have
Mhm.
all the opportunities I have today. Like my life would be. I'm telling you right now, there's not a doubt in my mind. My life would be exponentially shittier. I would not be happy. I would be maintaining, but I would
Mhm.
not be happy.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
really.
And you brought yourself here. You made decisions to bring yourself to a place of happiness and
Mhm.
to leave a place of maybe being stagnant and safe, but
Yeah.
not happy and not experiencing. And you did that work and you should commend yourself for it.
But I will say, like, you know, it was not like all rainbows and sunshine, right? Like I traded one vice for another when I moved here, and I replaced a vice with a man who mimicked the behaviors and the environment in which I already was comfortable with. And it took me some more time to figure that the fuck out and to be like, oh, I'm doing the same thing, just a different modality.
Wow.
And that took another couple more years.
Mm-hmm.
That was really tough.
I know you mentioned Masters of Sex for like a show that has like a therapist and stuff. Is there any other shows that you feel like relates to your experience as a therapist or like that you watch to relate to? Or even something that has a therapist that is like, wow, that's not how a therapist is at all.
Oh yeah. There was
Split. Have you guys seen Split?
Oh, Split, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the therapist in that, she's got a tough job. She's dealing with somebody who really has multiple personalities. They have DID, right? So, like, I don't know, like, because at some point in the movie, she goes to his house because she's so worried about him. Like, I would, like, obviously, like, that's, like, realistically unethical. But, like, in that case, like, she was worried he was going to harm somebody. But there's not many therapy shows. I think that I shy away from that because I do that every day in my real life. I'm not trying to like unplug and plug into that, right? There are a couple new shows out that I've noticed that have that are like therapist based, but I have not watched them.
Sopranos.
Oh, okay. Wait, I take everything back. I'm a big fat liar. A big fat liar. Okay. Well, Sopranos is just another category because, like, although The Sopranos is heavily focused on Tony Soprano's mental health, it's like
everything.
It's everything. It's the mob. It's the women. It's the gumas. It's the gabagoo. It's the fucking the ooby dabby dabby. You know. Yes. Okay. So, like in that, like I love that dynamic. I actually in undergrad I did like one of my projects on the relationship between Dr. Melfi and Tony Soprano. And like what she diagnosed him with, and like what I would think like she diagnosed him with.
What did you say?
I think I said because I have zero like brain cells working like from any time past like last year, because this was years ago at this point. Probably something like really borderline personality disorder. I mean, he definitely suffers from anxiety and depression.
Yes.
There's anxiety. Like if you look back in his history, his dad had panic attacks. But probably like borderline something there, I think.
How do you feel like mental health is portrayed in The Sopranos or in Split? And you guys can both answer this. Like, do you feel that it's accurately portrayed when you see mental health, like in the things that you've been watching, people dealing with anxiety and depression?
Split's like on the other, like the extreme, like mental illnesses. Right. Like when we're talking about Tony Soprano, he falls into the category of like, you know, what we maybe like considered like mild like anxiety depression side.
Right.
And like we're talking generational trauma at that point, like being in the mob and all of that piece. Wait, what was your question?
Well, yeah, I feel
Sorry,
like
you went-
because you said like with Sopranos and Split, they're two totally different representations of mental health. Like I feel like for the time, especially for the time period of The Sopranos, they do a really great job of representing generalized anxiety and panic attacks and depression. But Split, they really demonize dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah.
And that was, I feel,
don't
very
think that was
problematic.
Yeah, I don't think that was a fair representation of like the disorder.
Mhm.
Right? Like it was like the extreme. It was like they took it and made it a Hollywood movie. Right?
Yeah.
Like, let's make it the worst possible scenario with somebody who has DID. But like
Right.
with The Sopranos, you know, I think like you said, like they really did a good job. They definitely ahead of their time of being like showing just like even snippets. Like in the show, it's so taboo. Like Tony can't tell anybody. He like takes a special car. He like goes through like the back of like some other store to get to see his to see Dr. Balfi. Like nobody knows. And then it's like everyone thinks Tony can't be the boss anymore because he's like having panic attacks. Like it's
Wow.
you know, and I think in that time too is very much like it was. That's how we looked at it. Society was like you have a moral like there's a moral like lack there for you if you struggle with mental illness. Like you're not capable, especially being a man.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
A
And
boss,
even right,
a
and
family.
even down to her office, like it's so old fashioned, like
Oh
the
my
type of
God.
therapy office. Like there's like no colors in the room. It's just like brown wood, like very what you stereotypically would have thought a therapist office was
Yeah.
in that time. And just like her approach to therapy is like very much like psychoanalytic, I would say.
She's so psychoanalytic.
Yeah. So it's just like now how therapy is. I mean, I wear this and I'm like, what's up? What's going on?
I know.
Very
I'm
different.
like, girl.
I can't wait for the day that there's a movie or a show. Like, I feel like we've started to see it, and I feel like it is coming, whether I have to write it or not, that there's a Zoom therapy session in a show, because that so accurately now represents our version of therapy, especially in New York City specifically. When I was working at the yoga studio, everyone would be like, okay, go into the private studio to do my session. Like everyone, every single person in the studio, that's where you would just go to do your session. Cause it's just like, you're constantly on the go here. There's nothing else to do. So like, I'm like, oh my gosh, the way that they insert kind of text bubbles with one another in TV shows and movies now, which I've really appreciated, or FaceTimes and stuff. Like the Mean Girls movie had so much of that in it. The new one. I am looking forward to when I can start seeing more TV shows and movies with Zoom therapy and like
depicting what it looks like today.
What it looks like right now. I think that's really interesting. And how much it does help seeing it on screen and seeing it through social media and just talking about it.
It really does. It reminds me too, like I actually I started to watch The Sopranos like once I had moved and stuff. And like, that's when I like fell in love with it. But like, it was the first time I was able to see, because you in the show, you get to also see how Dr. Melfi feels about being a therapist to Tony, like seeing the back piece. Like you typically will see in media, the client's perspective, like, oh, well, how does that make you feel? Right. But like in The Sopranos, like you got to see the reverse. Like she would go to her therapist and it's like, girl, like dead ass, if you're a therapist, you need to be in therapy because I mean, it's just like you're taking people's lives. And I mean, not even taking people, like you're talking about like the deepest, darkest things that people hold like closest to their chest. And like, it can't be like taken like lightly. Like there's some days like I have to like, I finish my day and I'm like, oh man, like dude, like I have nothing left. Don't talk to me. And not in like a mean way, but like you have to unplug. And like, that's what you see in The Sopranos, like her being like, her having like moral dilemmas. Like she wanted to like sleep with him and she was attracted to him at some point. you know, and all of her colleagues were like, this is insane and unethical. You need to stop.
Right.
So it was really, that was definitely, that probably was a pivotal moment that I didn't realize.
Yeah.
You know, just like kind of seeing that.
You brought up like after a long day, you just need to like unplug. Do you go to any forms of media to help you unplug after a long day?
Oh, yes. Yes. There's my go-to routine. My go-to routine is to come home. I usually take my shirt off because I just like don't like having my clothes on.
Oh yeah.
Take my shirt off and I'll just be walking around in my bra, which is fine. I live alone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, I mean, if I did, fuck it. And I usually tell my Alexa, you know, she's my roommate, to turn the music on. Sometimes she listens, sometimes she doesn't.
Oh yeah.
Recently, I've been listening to Cowboy Carter, obviously, but like I will jam out, like, you know, putting my work bag down, washing my like lunchbox out, like really like home ec type of shit, you know? Like I come home, make my bed. I lied. Sometimes I don't do that.
It's
but
okay.
I clean up a little bit and then I take my shirt off and I listen to music and then I shower. It's a very specific, I got to shower because I can't like get cozy in bed if I don't shower. That's just me though. And I usually, like if I have things to do, I'll like pop on Parks and Rec, Schitt's Creek, The Office sometimes. I just started watching again for the second time Outlander.
Ooh.
Which is great. So like, or I'll just put on lo-fi.
Yeah.
I can't go wrong with lo-fi. But like, there's actually been way more times than not recently that I've just listened to music all night and then went to bed and didn't even turn on the TV.
Nice.
Which is new for me. I've never done that, but I find a lot of solace at just chilling.
I like that.
Listen to like, and I will like, I am running the whole gamut like of music. I will go country, rock, R&B, hip hop, Parks and Rec and me. Like that's my feel good show.
Yeah.
Don't know what else to watch.
Leslie.
Don't want to watch it, but just need sound on the back.
Yeah, I love Parks and Rec. Oh my gosh. Who do you identify with in Parks and Rec?
I think I'm a mixture between Andy and Leslie Knope.
Yes.
Andy Dwyer and Leslie Knope.
Yes.
Because I'm weird and quirky, like I'm goofy like Andy. But I'm also like pretty strategic and like a little type A like Leslie.
Yeah. I definitely
but then I also
see that.
can like resonate with like April Ludgate because she is a dark, slimy weirdo, and I categorize myself.
I love that.
And she just gives off like this weird energy, like she is the person in media or like in any of her movies or shows she's ever done. Like this is the best way to describe her. Like she's constantly like an intrusive thought. She's always just popping off saying something. And that's me. Like she's always just saying something.
Oh yeah.
I love her.
And I get that.
Yes.
I love
that.
her.
Is her in real life though.
Yeah, like and I love that I love when actors or actresses get to like play that role not only in like in their professional life but their real life.
Yes.
I think it's so cool.
Right?
Yep. Your most interesting character is your most interesting self.
Oh.
Yes.
Sarah, do you have any recommendations? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Let me know.
Recommendations. Well, I'm gonna recommend Cowboy Carter as maybe like a good vibe to listen to.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say any more about it because you just need to figure it out for your own interpretation.
Yes.
Like that's it. And on God.
I love it.
What else I've been like your other guest, Madison. I've been so into Noah Khan right now.
Yeah.
I think he's fucking fantastic. Like he's been on repeat. Like I've been going through some shit and like it's just like the perfect sad music that like makes me feel like a warm hug.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which has been really nice. Like I said, I just restarted watching Outlander and that is a crazy epic show on Netflix. It's got like 8 seasons, so like we love a good montage. Like you can really invest your life into it, and I'm about that. But yeah, Outlander, whatever. That's kind of it. Like I said, it's just been music. Like I've been really curating my playlist. So like when Alexa plays a song, I'm like Alexa, I like that, or like I love that. She's like, I'll add it to your playlist.
That's
I'm
amazing.
like, thanks, girl.
I love that.
Amazing. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for being here. This was so fun.
Yes. Thank you so much for your journey. We love you.
Yeah.
Welcome to Maggie's Media Munchies, where I sing to you. Not really. But okay. My Media Munchies, I have two for you. And we're going to start off with Miss Oscar winner Emma Stone. Hello, Poor Things. That film was incredible. I did love it. I am really interested to hear people's takes on it because it's very, I'm just curious about it. I'm just curious about people's takes on it. I've heard a lot of like mixed feelings about it. Like I've heard people that have like absolutely loved it. It's their favorite film of all time. And I've heard people say that they were like, I just don't think that a male director can understand like what it is to walk around the world as a woman. So why is he directing? So that's really also interesting to me too in a lot of ways. But I personally really, really enjoyed it. I went and saw it in theaters. And I'm saying you're pairing this with a nice berry cobbler, a scoop of vanilla ice cream. I personally like
warm berry cobbler.
Warm berry cobbler.
Fresh out the oven.
Fresh out the oven. It's really easy to make. Just get that bag of frozen berries, mix it up with some sugar, put it in the pan, plop some Bisquick on top, and bake that shit in the oven. That's that good. That's that yum.
That sounds delicious.
And with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Are you going vanilla gelato? Or are you going vanilla bean? Or are you going vanilla reg?
Vanilla bean.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Me too. People hate on vanilla bean, but I like it.
What?
And so that's what you could pair it with. I think it's classy. I think it's a long movie again, like my other rec, but you can from last week. But you can eat that while watching it and just be really satisfied. Like it's good. You can even, you don't even need to put the Bisquick topping. You could put like a nice crumble. You can just make it easy. Just make it nice and have it warm. But I just feel like that's just a really nice spring dessert to pair with this very like, it's not a spring movie in any way. But it has a lot of spring colors, I would say, in it.
Spring chicken.
Yeah. Like a light blue, pastels. And it's just fun. So I feel like that's really fun. My other is, I don't know if any of y'all have been listening to The Last Dinner Party, but yeah, they're an amazing band. They have this song on their album called Nothing Matters, and I really have just been fantasizing my life with that song because nothing really matters. I think and they have this song also called The Feminine Urge, which really is just really fun. All of it just makes me see my life a little differently. It just opens up my mind a little more in a lot of ways. So what I'm recommending you pair that with, it's fun, it's exciting. If you like Florence and the Machine, you would really like them, I believe. They're really, really in that same kind of vibe. I feel like I'm just discovering them, but I'm starting to realize that a lot of people know them, not just me. I thought I really discovered them at one point, but they're pretty actually popular. But I was just living in my own world. But I would pair that with a Dirty Shirley or a Shirley Temple. If you don't like Dirty Shirleys and you just want to have a regular Shirley Temple, that's really good.
Yummy.
And dance around with it. It's a fun girly pop vibe. It's really visceral.
I
love it. Those are my Maggie Media Munchies. Have fun with that.
Yum.
And zoo you.
Welcome to Tyler's Take Care of Yourself tip, where I give you a tip to take care of yourself. So we were talking with Sarah about things that maybe people would define as regrets or, things they wish they did, mistakes, things they wish they didn't do.
Yeah.
So my take care of yourself tip is to, if you are living with, maybe regret or feeling guilty about something, or maybe a mistake or something you would define as a mistake, I should say, or define as a regret, journal it out and reframe that moment to something that reframe it into something that has led you to where you are today, led you to something you're really grateful for today. Like how Sarah was saying, you know, there are certain things that she might regret, but ultimately it led her to where she is today and where she's thriving today.
Yes.
So do that. It'll be really validating and empowering. And yeah,
Take care of yourself.
take care of yourself.
Welcome to Cravings Corner. What are we craving? Is it a food? Is it a feeling? It is a moment?
Is it a person?
Is it a person? A place? A thing?
Mm-hmm.
What are you craving? Tyler, what are you craving?
I am craving the best part of a night out, and it is the debrief in the morning.
Yes.
And tonight we're having a fun night with our girls, and we're gonna take on the town. We're gonna trot on through, and fight the two earthquakes that hit New York City.
Yeah.
We are gonna have a night on
And
the
we're gonna
town.
make a third earthquake
We're gonna
with just my body shake.
with our body gyrated.
Body shake.
And yeah, so that's what I am craving. Maggie, what are you craving?
What am I craving? I'm craving a puppy.
Yes.
I'm craving a beautiful baby puppy.
Puppy.
I want to be a mother of a fur child. And I want an Offset. Danny's saying a no to me, but he wants it too.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even lie. I
want to be a fur aunt.
I think a fur baby would be so good on the pod.
Yes. Well, we have ours.
I mean, we do have ours.
But when that moves.
Yeah. And barks. Yeah, I'm really craving a fur child, and I want a little rescue. Particularly maybe if I saw today, what inspired this was I saw a post for Guava, the French bulldog / pug that needs to be fostered. So I commented on it, but then I realized that Guava is in Los Angeles. So, but I told them to fly her out. So,
or maybe they'll have to fly out to her.
Yeah, maybe I'll just have to go get her.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm craving a fur baby. I love animals, and I think working from home this week, I was like, I would love to have a little pet to go out and walk with.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I have a busy schedule, so I still need to adjust to this new job and everything first. And maybe after traveling in the summer,
yes,
we can start thinking about a real fur pup.
Amazing. Love that craving. Love our cravings.
Love.
It would be so nice to have a fur baby during the debrief.
Yeah.
Pet.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
One day. But anyway.
That was an amazing episode.
We have a night to be had tonight.
Yeah, we have things to do, people to see.
Yep.
So follow Act and Analyze podcast on Instagram and on TikTok, and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Yep.
Rate us.
Share us. And we love you.
We love you. We'll see you next week.